Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Tom Barton from TomBartonSports.com here, and it is time. It is bracket time. It is tournament time. It is field of 68 time. Whatever kind of wording you want to use, it is the best moment in college basketball season. A lot of people would argue it's the best moment in the sports season. I might be one of them. Yeah, we're going to go over all of the field of 64. I'll kind of go over my bracket, what I think, where I'm finding value in some plays. The 12s versus the 5s is always fun. Maybe this year is the 11 against the 6s. Yeah, very possible. We love the 13s. Will another 16 beat a 1 seed? Will a 15 come out and knock somebody off? I'll get into all that, including deeper into the tournament. I'll kind of give you my thoughts and a lot of information here today. Go check me out at TomBartonSports.com. I have absolutely just been rolling at TomBartonSports.com. I had Brown money line, Brown plus the 11. Yeah, both winners there. The next day on Sunday, Brown again plus the points. Those are big. Long Beach State. I was on the court. You guys could go check it out on my Twitter account. It's Tom Barton Sports, or you can go check out some of these other videos. I was at the Big West tournament, the Mountain West tournament in Las Vegas this week, on the court, watching all of the action. And I got to tell you, man, it absolutely got a lock on some of these teams, especially the 6 teams in the Mountain West tournament. Yeah, I have them locked down. And the Long Beach State, the Beach and Dan Monson, man, what a story that was. I could tell you I'm eyeing something here with the Beach that could be interesting as well. I made a lot of money on them on a team total over this week. Team total over 70, and it was 27 points scored at the half. And I got to tell you, I was nervous. Oh boy, was I not feeling great at that point. But they came back, scored 74, and cashed that ticket. So it's been a fantastic week in Las Vegas. You can hear my throat a little bit. You know, that's what happens when you're in Vegas for 12, 14, 16 hours a day at the arenas kind of doing the work. But now we get into tournament time, and I want to make you guys some money on tournament time. So I'm going to give you a lot of stats and a lot of trends here. But I think the one thing to understand for stats and trends wise is, take them for what they are. They should not be the be all end all of why you're making a bet. And I kind of explain that to people all the time. They say, how do you use these stats? How do you use these numbers? Where do they come in? And I love my stats, okay? I love my stats. I love my trends. But it's only a verification of what I'm looking for. It's an element. It's a piece. I already want something to do with that team, we'll say. I already think I'm going to bet that team. And then you go out there. And most people do that. Most people already kind of know something flying around there. Most people kind of know kind of who they're leaning towards. They've done their research. They've done their homework. Who are you looking at, and who do you want to go out there and win? And then you should be looking for reasons not to take that team instead of looking for verification. But a lot of people do look for verification, and it can help. Stats can help. Just don't make sure that it's the end-all, be-all. I don't want to hear people going out there and saying, man, I made a bet based on this statistic alone or this history alone. No, specifically on history, absolutely not. These are new teams, new situations. So it's an X's and O's game. A lot of it is following the line movement. I understand that. People love the line movement. People love the lines. You can make a lot of money based on just lines. And there is a big debate on Twitter nowadays. Is it closing line value, or is it betting the teams? I think it's a combination of both, to be honest with you. It's obvious you want the best line value and you want the best number, but I also think a lot of it is breaking down the teams the old school way as well can make you money, and it's made me money for a while. So we'll throw it out there. Look, the tournament here has a couple of oddities, we'll say. It has a couple of weird things when you're sitting around and you're kind of picking out them. And I think this year is people are starting to wake up to the fact that some coaches win and some coaches don't. Right? I mean, some coaches they are fantastic at this time of year, and it's history. I get it. And the one argument you could say is, look, this was Jim Boeheim. For those that don't realize, Jim Boeheim was the guy that couldn't win it. He was the guy that couldn't win it. He was the Rick Barnes. He was the Matt Painter. He was that guy for a long time until he won it, right? You only have to win one, and then you stopped hearing talk about that. So when we start to get into that, look, Rick Barnes' name comes up. I have been burned multiple times by this Tennessee team. Rick Barnes is 9-21 against the spread in the NCAA tournament since 2005. It's the worst coaching record ever at that point with this amount of games in 30 games. Yet 75% of the people are on Tennessee at minus 21.5 against St. Peter's. St. Peter's is a name that I actually thought was going to get a little bit of public money. I thought that St. Peter's, being St. Peter's and watching people go, well, you know what? I took this team and I loved it and they were good. I thought St. Peter's would get that kind of love, and they're not getting it. 75% of the people are on Tennessee, and I've read up to reports of 80% of the people, because it's the big bad SEC, and they just won it. But keep in mind Rick Barnes' record, because Rick Barnes has burned me. Keep that in mind. Matt Painter. Matt Painter's 1-14 against the spread in the last 15 conference tournament games. Guys, 1-15 against the spread. So a number one seed in Painter, the SEC, the big bad SEC champion, they just flat out don't cover numbers, right? And Rick Barnes, by the way, is 3-15 against the spread in the tournament since 2009. So you could go deeper into that if you really want to. But you do have the other side of this, right? And the other side of this is Dana Altman. Dana Altman has taken Oregon to 7 NCAA tournaments, right? Last year, they were a 12 seed. They went to the Sweet 16. He's gone to a Sweet 16 as a 12 seed twice now. 7 and 8 seed, he went to the field of 32. As a 1 seed, he went to the Elite 8. As a 3 seed, he went to the Final 4. And as a 7 seed, he also went to a Sweet 16. Dana Altman and Oregon are actually a 1-point underdog. Look, they just win. And he just wins come tournament time. I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but be very aware of what he has done and how he prepares for the tournament. I think taking the week off, the flight schedule, the situational schedule, getting your team mentally prepared for the big stage, I think it all matters. So Dana Altman, yeah, he's a guy to look at. He's the best coaches in the tournament right now, active coaches in the tournament. He is 15-6-1, Dana Altman. John Calipari is 32-24-3. A lot of people betting against Coach Cal here in this tournament. I get it, 32-24-3. John Groce is 7-1. Hubert Davis is 6-0. Hubert Davis never didn't cover a spread. Now it's a very, very short resume. And a very short resume for Dan Hurley, who's 9-3 as well. But they are out there, okay? They are out there, and it's something to pay attention to. Let's also go to some of the fun things in the tournament here. Nebraska in round 1, because we just talked about the 8-9s, right? Nebraska in round 1, plus 500 to make the Sweet 16. Texas is plus 900 to make the Sweet 16. Yet, Texas is the favorite in their first round matchup, or very close to a pick'em. Interesting numbers, right? Interesting numbers. You start to go down and you go, okay, well, how about those 8-9 seeds? Well, 8-9 seed has beaten a 1 seed in 10 of 13 tournaments. Wow, that's something to pay attention to, right? 8 and 9 seed, you look at and you go, that makes some sense there. But, ladies and gentlemen, they're not the 11 seeds. When I was filling out my bracket live on Fox Sports Las Vegas this week, right, I had my co-host Tim Unglesby say to me, Tommy, you love the 11 seeds. And it was totally unintentional. But yeah, I do love the 11 seeds. 11 seeds are where it's at. At least for me this year, the 11 seeds is where it's at. Look, at least one 11 seed has reached the Sweet 16 in 10 of the last 13 tournaments. And in 5 times, 2 of those 11 seeds have gone out even further. So you look at that. The 11 seeds have historical significance here. It used to be the 12 seeds, right? The 12 seeds were it. 12 seeds only twice since 2014, though, have advanced to the Sweet 16. I don't think the 12 seeds are really it anymore. To me, it is the 11 seeds. You know, the 11 seeds are dangerous this year. The 11 seeds are jam-packed. You could talk about that 8-9 matchup where underdogs in the 8-9 matchup have won nearly 60% of the time since 2005. Mississippi State plus 1.5, Northwestern this year plus 2.5, Texas A&M plus 1 or about even money, and Utah State plus 3.5. There's your 8-9 matchups. They won nearly 60%. I think if you just take the underdog in those matchups, you're going to make money. But I don't blindly bet like that. But back to the 11 seeds. 11 seeds, there's 11 times where the 11 seed has been favored over a 6 seed. 11 times. In those 11 instances, the 11 seed has won 10 of their 11 games, straight up. And 9 of them, they've won by double digits. New Mexico is favored. So you start to break it down and you go, okay, if you love 11 seeds, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a little bit of sense. Now, getting back to the 12 seeds, if you bet every 12 and 13 seed, this is huge. If you bet every 12 and 13 seed against the spread and on the money line, you would have made money in 11 of the last 15 tournaments. That's 16 total bets, right? You're betting every game, spread and money line, plus money, and it's the same amount. You're spending the same exact amount. So it's 16 total bets, 8 against the spread, 8 money line. You would have made money in 11 to 15 tournaments. Because all you really need to do is have one or two really win, and you're getting a double win. All you need to do is kind of call for the upset, and you're getting the double win. Something to absolutely watch. Something to absolutely watch. Let's talk about going into the actual, deeper into the tournament. Every national title winner has been a top 12 in a week 6 AP poll. That's basically leaves us with only 11 teams. Every national title winner has advanced to the semifinal game of their tournament. That takes away Tennessee and takes away Creighton. So there's kind of more. Oh, wait a minute. We got double things on Rick Barnes, who, by the way, I wanted to have go to the championship game. Now I'm starting to kind of rethink it. Every national title winner has entered the tournament with a top 40 Ken Pom offense and a top 25 Ken Pom defense. Baylor, Zags, Kansas out. Now you can talk about Kansas's injuries, and we know that, but Baylor, Kansas, and the Zags are out there. So, yeah, it starts to get kind of interesting. You start to get there. And then you start to talk about underdogs. And underdogs are huge. Everybody loves the underdogs. Do they pay, though? Yes, they do. But you got to be diligent about it. Try not to just pick and choose your underdogs. Got to be diligent about it. If you bet $100 on every underdog in 2022 blindly, you would have been 19-45. I'm talking about every underdog, but 19-45. You would have profited $1,100. See? In 2023, you would have been 24-43. You would have profited over $2,000. You got to be diligent, and you got to bet a lot of games there, guys. A lot of people don't have that bankroll, but it shows you that underdogs will pay if you're diligent about it. Don't bet those 16 seeds. It's only happened twice. I don't encourage you to bet the 15 seeds either. No. If you're going to keep going on, go with the 1 seeds, man. The 1 seeds are consistently the winners. 39 of 42 tournaments have reached the Final Four. A 1 seed has reached the Final Four. They're going, okay? 12 of the last 16 times a 1 seed has won the championship. Just feel comfortable taking a 1 seed. I mean, that's what we're looking at. And then we want to go to, okay, that's nice about the brackets, but let's talk about against the spread, right? Against the spread. Who's the best teams against the spread? Does that carry over? Maybe not. Different conference, different teams. Maybe not. Iowa State's the best team against the spread in the country. They're 23-10-1 going into the tournament. South Carolina 23-10. They're a slight favorite, right? Iowa State's a big favorite, 16 points or so. New Mexico 23-11. They're a 6-point favorite. Boom, double tag for New Mexico, who I watch play up front. And if they're healthy and they have a duo there and a guy inside, New Mexico's dangerous. Very dangerous. UConn 22-12. Of course, the best team in the country is going to be that. And St. Peter's 20-11, but in a lower division. What about worst? Worst against the spread records. Texas doesn't cover. They're 12-20. They didn't reach the lofty expectations that people believe that they would with Max Amass, 3,110 career points, 8th in Division I history. Yeah, they didn't reach those heights. That's why they didn't cover the record. Howard 12-18-2. San Diego State 13-19. Another team I watched right up front. Kansas 13-18-1. Well, that's the injury news. And Vermont 14-18. They're very good, but Vermont doesn't crush teams. And if you notice something about all of those teams, Howard, San Diego State, Vermont, even Kansas to a point, even Texas to a point, but you look at them all, they play slow. They play a slow style, and the slow style sometimes can lead to, not covering. Vermont, as a matter of fact, is 0-6 in the round of 64 since 2010. That's slow style, right? Kansas had a problem with the bench play. 12 points per game from their bench. That's 336 in the Division I, guys. That's a problem with bench play. You look at this and you try to kind of pick out and find some areas where, this could be a problem, okay? We talk about offense and defense. 22 of the last 24 national champions had an adjusted offense in the top 18 and 37 defense for the qualifying teams. That's UConn, Houston, Purdue, Arizona, Creighton, Auburn, and Duke. But what happens when the slow teams face off against the fast teams? Bet on the slow teams, guys. Slow teams against fast-paced teams win at over an 80% clip. So who are the slow teams against fast teams? We have a lot of slow teams, right? A lot of the teams are kind of in that. But St. Mary's against Grand Canyon for sure. Slow against fast. Morehead State against Illinois. Morehead State wants to slow it down. Texas A&M against Nebraska for sure. And Yale over Auburn. They all fit. They are all in that area. So you try to kind of find, okay, where am I looking here? Well, what am I also kind of jumping on? I'll give you a couple of tidbits here. Charleston doesn't guard well. They don't turn teams over. They're playing a very healthy Bama team that runs, but that's a slow against a fast. I'm not sure if I'm willing to kind of take the leap with Charleston at that point. Oakland is fast against Kentucky, but Oakland is 8-1 in games decided by 5 points or fewer. Do you think it's going to be a close game? Might want to lean Oakland. I like Florida, and the injury was tough for that kid. I get it. But I still like Florida. I still like what I saw in them. But they're a fast team. They're going to be fast against everybody. If they meet a slow team, I'm a little concerned. But Florida came in second in rebounds in the country with 43 per game. And they're 8-0 in the round of 64 since 2011. You got to look at Florida and say, not only in round one, but moving forward, if they don't get a slow team, they could race people out of the gym. McNeese State outscored opponents by 19 points per game. That's the largest margin in D1. But do you believe that McNeese State, who played literally like Christian Studies teams, and I think that's the name of one of their teams that they played, Christian Studies, or do you believe in their record was a little fraudulent? They have a team like Samford, 86 points per game, fifth in Division I. They're in a spot as well, taking on a team that maybe they have the advantage over when you're talking about the styles. So generally speaking, when I do my brackets, it's one thing. But when I'm out there making bets, I'm looking about, I like backcourt, I like coaching, I like stylistic opportunities and chances. After I get those three out of the way, give me coaching, give me backcourt, give me stylistic chances. I love things like rebounding advantage. I love things as you go deeper for national championships and things like that. As you go deeper, I love things like bench play. Wagner plays 7 deep. I don't think they're getting out of the first round, but just to give you an idea, I like things like bench play because you're going to need that as you go on into the tournament. I like the history. I like the numbers. I like the 12 against the 5, 11 against the 6s, the 13 is going to win. I like all that, but I don't blindly do any of that. It's got to coincide with everything else that we have. So just to give you kind of a quick overview here, when we're talking about teams that I have personally going. Look, I think UConn's the best team in the country, and they could get slipped up by Iowa State. I just don't see it. My wife loves Illinois. She put her in a bracket. I like Illinois as well. I'm worried about Illinois getting out of the first round against Moorhead. So I like Illinois, and I think they can make a run here, but I do have my concerns. If I have my concerns about round one, I've got to have my concerns moving forward. So UConn just is the premier team there. And I had a pretty easy time putting them through and a pretty easy time putting the chalky North Carolina Tar Heels through. Although that West bracket for me is a complete and utter nightmare. Look, I have New Mexico going through. I have Colgate going through. I have Nevada going through. I didn't get so bold to put Long Beach State going through, but I have Charleston going through. I have Grand Canyon going through. Yeah, my Western bracket is a nightmare. But at the end of the nightmare, I came out chalky North Carolina. I have said all along, I thought that UConn and North Carolina were the two best teams in the league. When R.J. Barrett and Baycock are playing well underneath, it's hard to see anybody stopping them, especially in a mess of a bracket, which I expect to have. On the other side, I had a hard time. Look, I don't believe in Marquette. I think that Houston's susceptible to long droughts where they could get beat up by a team that scores. And I took Florida, guys. I think that Florida is that team that scores. If that kid didn't get his leg broken, I think that a lot of people would have been on my Florida bandwagon. The problem is he did. He got injured, and it was upsetting. But I still think they have enough. I think that offense is, and they're streaking in the right direction, enough to take down a Marquette. And then in that conference, do you worry about, or in that bracket, do you worry about Houston? Do you worry about Duke? I'm taking Florida. That's a long shot. So I go a chalky 7 seed. I think that Duke could get there too. They were playing well for a while, but I have my concerns. And then in the Midwest bracket, this is the hardest one. First of all, I'm not betting on Matt Painter to go very far. I just won't. I get their talent. I get their number one player, but I've seen too much of it. I don't think they're losing in round one. A lot of people say you got to get them early. I don't know about that. Oregon could make a run, but I don't have that 11 seed going all the way to the Final Four. I do believe that Texas can make a run. They have the ability, but I haven't seen it this year. I wanted to take a shot at Kansas. I know my buddy Tim likes Kansas, but with the injury news, you almost can't take them. So I was between Tennessee and Creighton. Who's going to get to the Final Four out of that, Tennessee or Creighton? And you turn around and you look at this and you go, man, Rick Barnes just let you down too much. I like them, and I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for Tennessee. I hope that Tennessee proves me wrong. But Rick Barnes just let you down too much. How do you get there? I'm going with Creighton, the Blue Jays, a team that I've liked all year, and I like the Big East. So I have UConn, UNC, Florida, and Creighton. And basically, whoever wins the UConn-UNC game for me is the champion. I fill out 2 brackets a year. I have UConn champion in one, and I have UNC the champion in the other. That's going to do it for me, guys. Hope that helped you out a little bit, and I hope that you guys go check me out at TomBartonSports.com. Sign up now, guys. It's TomBartonSports.com. You get all of my plays. I'm on 3 team totals in the first weekend already. Loving that. I'm on a first half play, so I get a little creative, but I don't overwhelm you. There's going to be about 4 or 5 plays per day over the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You get your money's worth at TomBartonSports.com. There's no upgrades, no commission. Go check me out. I will be back, and you can bet on that.